Okay, the question is, what does it mean to be awake? I'll give you this one. Annoying the world one person at a time. Honduras is the hat. Why am I annoying one person at a time? It's because I'm awake. And it is my experience as an awake person that I am very annoying. Because I'm wearing an annoying shirt. All right, what does it mean to be awake? It means that you don't think. It is not to say that thoughts do not go through my head, or other personalities don't go through my head, or my own personality go through my head. Usually when I'm talking like this, my own personality is there. But, as an actor, when my other characters are coming through the body, me as an actor, I'm watching like a spectator. But even when I'm talking, I don't know what I'm going to say. So I'm going to give you that. If you are awake, when you open your mouth and you start to breathe and move your vocal cords, if you don't know what you're going to say before you say it, and it comes out intelligible, I'm going to tell you that is a sign that you are awake. Awake from what? Awake from, well, the opposite of awake is usually considered asleep. How about sleepwalking? I'm going to come back to the old idea of the ego. The ego personality, which is the personality that develops when someone has got a body and all they think about is they are the body and the rest of the world is not your body. So when you're awake, you recognize that you yourself are not the body. Let's just leave it at that. It gets very complicated when you continue to go down the rabbit hole of what you are once you get beyond the fact that you're not your body. But have I annoyed you yet? Well, usually the reason why I'm annoying is because when I speak the truths that come to me, people who are the ones that get annoyed, I have to call them egoic people. They're people who are not awake, and when I tell them things, it disturbs their sense of who they are, and they're so tied to their idea that they're a body, and that they are, if you're a body, then you must be someone who is very concerned with learning everything to run the body through this world. And an awake person doesn't do that at all. Doesn't plan for the future, doesn't be too much concerned about what's going on the news, doesn't be too concerned about the past, and is still curious when they're given to be curious. But that is about it. So, present, now, and although one can be given at times to think about the past and the future, An ego person is very concerned about, the future, because if you're not making plans, then you're planning to fail. The ego person considers that the mind of a human is the smartest thing around to guide the 3D body around. An awake person still knows what the mind is thinking, but the mind is overruled and something else takes the reins. And the mind has often got ideas of what should be done, and if it can be convinced to let go of the reins, it is quite surprised to see that without the mind's interference, that the body will go and do something without the mind knowing what it's going to do. Some might say, well, it's some hidden aspect of the mind that is deciding what to do. Isn't that annoying? Have I annoyed you enough? What is it like to be awake? Well, I still kind of sleep. Not right now, but I do tend to get sleepy tired and need to lie down, and I don't always fall asleep. Sometimes I'm just there. But it feels like the body is very sleepy and it wants me to go and, take some time out. The significance of the Honduras. I'm looking at. I don't have a significance at the moment. It was just a white hat, and it was the hat that wanted to be worn for all intents and purposes. What else can you say about an awake person? I'm awake, but I am not, by any stretch of the imagination, able to answer a lot of questions that come up to me. So even though I can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and if someone asks me questions, I may or may not be able to give you good answers, but a lot of questions that I have, I still don't know. So am I fully awake? I'm sorry, I'm not awake in the sense of being fully capable of going within and getting answers that are satisfying to me. So you are looking at someone who is semi-conscious, but when I look around at the egoic people, I say I'm looking at sleepwalkers because they are completely asleep. So I suppose that's what happens on your spiritual journey. You start off, people think you're awake, but you're in a hypnotic trance, wandering around, sleepwalking, and then later on you become semi-conscious, like me, and then if you become a bona fide spiritual master, then perhaps you are, well, definitely more awake. Can you get more awake than a bona fide spiritual master? I think so, yes. I think you can continually get more and more consciousness. Although the stories about these fully realized rishis, who are basically, I think what happens is that they get used as mouthpieces for God. Now, whether they know everything or whether they're just a mouthpiece to answer the people's questions, I don't know. It's a good question that I perhaps would ask as bona fide spiritual master. Do I know any bona fide spiritual masters? There's no one I can say. No. Apparently, they're few and far between. There's a lot of people on the internet that think that they are. I don't think they are. semi-conscious like me, some other people more awake than me, I'm going to guess yes. But have I met any? It's very hard to determine it. I imagine you would get a certain knowing in the presence of a bona fide spiritual master. And have I met someone that gave me that knowing? No, no. And the teachings of Dr. David R. Hawkins, before he passed on, were there's usually 6 to 8 bona fide sages on the planet out of, what is it, 6 or 8 billion people? 6 or 8 bona fide sages on the planet that are, would calibrate, let's say, over 700 on the scale of human consciousness. So if there is a great awakening where lots more people are going to awaken, is it true? I don't know. It could be a lot of wishful thinking. Or it could be true that maybe more people are becoming semi-conscious. I cannot muscle test anymore, so that's how I would test. If I could, what I would do is I would say there's more than 3 sages on the planet, more than 4, more than 5, more than 6, more than 7, more than 8, and see where I got the answer using muscle testing, and that's what I would run with. And if it seemed really strange, the number I got versus Dr. Hawkins, then I would pursue further tests. Is there a massive awakening where there's going to be more and more of these sages? I don't know if I could channel Dr. Hawkins and ask him. I don't know the names of any other bona fide spiritual masters, because the ones that Dr. Hawkins